Here we are on beautiful Jones Street.
You saw Ted Jones.
When I first saw him, I was like, is this freaking Tom Brady right here? This guy's a stud.
Tom Brady, I like that. What's up? Larry and Co. How's it going?
Yeah.
Larry, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Popping on. Yeah, get a little comfortable, man. Don't mean to start right as soon as you pop in. Larry Dorsey. All right, you locked in?
I'm locked in.
What's up, bro? How's it going? What shirt is this?
The Improv.
Okay, so I'm leaving for LA tomorrow. I'm doing the Hollywood Improv. I'm doing the Snapchat comedy show, and I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be in LA for like 3 days. That's funny that you're wearing that shirt. I got the little Snapchat hoodie.
And there
on
used
right
to be
now.
an improv out here as well, right? Or Levity Live, or
Yeah, not when I was around, to be honest.
Okay.
But I have heard of that. So what's up, man? How's it going? You got the grills in, looking fresh.
you know, same soup, just reheated. You know, I'm trying to.
I've never heard that. I love that. Same soup, just reheated. Love it.
I'll try. You know, I'm learning. I'm failing. I'm bumping my head, but it's just a continue. It's like, you know, in Muhabdib or whatever in Dune, where the voices start coming out.
Did you see Dune 2?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not a scary movie guy. I gotta be honest.
It's not scary. It's not scary.
No,
It's
the way you just were describing it sounds pretty scary to me.
It's more like he's connected to a society of witches who are trying to mold him into being the person who changes the world.
Okay.
So
I like
relate
changing
to
the
that.
world, but like the witches changing the world spooks me out a little bit. We got some water for you here. Do you need some water over there? Or you good? You're good? Let me know if you need water, okay? Larry brought out the entourage to the studio. We appreciate it.
And so you're a real New Yorker.
Yeah, man. So I was born and raised in New York. I should preface that. I was born in Princeton, New Jersey. I lived there for 6 weeks. And then ever since then, I've been in New York. Went to UConn for college.
Oh, nice.
In Connecticut. So I was out for a little bit, but then as soon as I graduated, I had to come back here, man. True city experience, which you probably appreciate too, being from San Francisco. So you were born in San Francisco?
Born and raised in San Francisco. I'm a real San Franciscan
Yeah,
in the city.
You were telling me that a lot of
to
people,
the soil.
a lot of people will say that they're from the city of San Francisco. What's the proper name of the city of San Francisco? Is there like a proper neighborhood that people are from, or what's it called?
No, so there's the Bay Area, and the Bay Area, let's say it's the boroughs, right? San Francisco is the Manhattan of the Bay Area. So it's the proper name for the city, but the whole region is called the Bay Area.
Do you ever go to Alcatraz?
Yeah, of course. I go actually today would be the day I'd be going.
Why today?
It's Indigenous Peoples Day.
Okay, nice.
So in the 1960s, there was an occupation from activists, and they took over Alcatraz because once federal land is no longer in use because it stopped being a prison, there's a law in the country where Native Americans can reclaim the land. And so a bunch of students from my alma mater, San Francisco State University, which is like a famous activist kind of university, they all went to Alcatraz and took it over.
How did you guys get there?
Well, I didn't do it. It was the civil rights.
Yeah, how did they?
But now we do the ferries, and so a bunch of Native and Latino people.
but back when they took it over, how'd they get there?
Man, that's a great question.
I mean, they must have taken like some sort of sailboat. Or something.
I remember a rich dude. So across the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, there's this place called Sausalito and Marin. It's like one of the most wealthiest places in the world. You know, it's just all rich, and it's wine country, everything. A dude took them in the boat over.
Oh,
he
that's
was
great.
like, I got y'all, let's do it.
My roommate from college went to Marin Academy.
Oh, okay.
And then I went out to Marin. This is probably like 12 years ago. I went out to San Francisco, and then I was there when I was like 2 years old for a wedding. But I went out there for a couple days, and I was really impressed with his driving out there because he lived on a hill, and in order for him to get out of his house, he needed to reverse back, and there was like 2 feet on each side that if he messed up either way, he was just going to fall off a cliff. So super hilly over there.
Roller coaster style.
Have you dealt with any earthquakes when you were out there?
Oh, my whole life.
Yeah. Like big ones or just like ones that maybe that's
I was born right after the big one.
Okay, my uncle was at that San Francisco Giants game.
What?
Yeah, insane.
Legendary.
So he went to Santa Clara for law school.
Okay, that's a great law school.
Yeah. Went to Wake Forest and then moved out there and then was at the game, and my grandma grandma was watching the game and she was freaking out. She, I mean, couldn't get in touch with anyone for a long time. And then apparently everyone like went to the center of the field. But that's a true San Francisco moment.
That is.
I want to jump back to Alcatraz though. Now, is it just a museum? What do they use
it's a museum and a tourist
facility,
a tourist thing, but it's also federal parks and recs, I think so. They maintain it, and there's people who live on it.
Okay.
And like I said, today would be the day a bunch of indigenous and a lot of Latino people, a lot of tourists as well. 3 a.m. in the morning, you get there, and it's cold. It's on the ocean. It's freezing, and we all get on a ferry. We go across to Alcatraz. And we have a ceremony with a big fire in the middle, dancing, prayers, singing, all types of stuff like that.
Apparently, there were only like 3 people who have ever escaped from there, or they don't even know that they escaped. They're like, there's like a mystery about them. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly. And I've actually saw with my own 2 eyes Klay Thompson swimming in the bay.
Well, don't they do a swimming, not a race, but they do some sort of event, swimming to Alcatraz and back, right?
They do a marathon.
But I imagine they'd probably do that in the summer, right?
There is no really summer in California.
No.
It's like just the same kind of thing year round.
So when people swim in it, are there boats right next to them making sure sharks don't attack them? Or are they even sharks in the area?
I couldn't tell you, but no, there's a lot of sharks in the area for sure. Yeah, I've seen some. Like, if you get there and if you ever come to San Francisco and I'm there, I'll give you the best tour. There's places where you can sit, and if you sit there for an hour, you'll see whales, seals, sharks, dolphins,
I love that.
All of it. And you're just chilling, smoking a joint, whatever, and you get a full-on aquatic.
Why was Klay Thompson swimming near Alcatraz? He was just messing around?
He was, I think it's like a claim to a status of athleticism. To swim in the ocean is pretty hard.
Why did you decide to come to New York?
So I work with a Broadway play called Freestyle Love Supreme, right? Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he did, everybody knows Hamilton, and I just found Mary Poppins, Moana, and Encanto. He's like big deal, and so I've been working with them for like 2 years, and with their subsidiary corporation as well called Freestyle Plus, and we travel around doing shows. It's fully improvised, and it's also the home of stand-up, or not necessarily the home, but the best place in the world.
You can say the home. You can say the home. We love that. We respect that.
And just UCB just opened up. Second City just opened back up. So there's so many more opportunities here. San Francisco, I feel like, is you could say the equivalent of Chicago when it comes to entertainment opportunities. Because of its proximity to Los Angeles. It also has the capital of California, Sacramento, right there. And then it has little Las Vegas right there. It's called Reno. So there's all these little things that are right next, like in the peripheral of the San Francisco Bay Area, where you could make a living if you do it right. And I was at the point where I was working in radio. I was working iHeartRadio for 8 years on air, doing a bunch of different things. And I was part of the top improv theater in Northern California. And I always tell people this because I think it's pretty big. In its 35 plus years of existence, I was the first Black person that made it on the main company.
When was that?
When did it happen? I think I got in 2020, 2021, something like that.
So how many years did they not have a Black person?
A long time. No, Black people went there to school.
Yes.
But they never rose to the ability to make it onto the main stage company. Yeah. And I was the youngest by 10 years. So I love all of them there. Majority of them are like old school white hippies. And a lot of them are like, they watch me grow. They know me since I was 18 years old. We're very close, good friends. I love them all. But it got to a point for me where I was like, every single scene I do, I have to be defaulting to their creation because I'm so much younger that my cultural understanding, not even ethnic or racial, just like what is hip to the younger people, or what's going on, they weren't in tune with that frequency,
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I want to improvise, but that's the top improv theater in Northern California. There's nowhere else I would be able to go. unless I move to LA, Chicago, or New York, where there's different vibes. So I was like, I also got to do that, you know. And this past weekend was my debut performing at UCB, and that was so fun. It was like a dream come true, you know. What we did was just right up my alley. We did so it was Shamilton. It's the like parody or whatever of Hamilton, where the audience picks the character and we do a fully improvised play on that character, and they picked Tina Turner. And so, and it was a great experience. And, you know, I was just like, man, this is what I needed as an improviser, you know, this is what I need. And then in stand up, you know, thank you so much for getting me on your show and on the podcast. I'm humbled and honored. I appreciate you. You know, it's just a beautiful thing to be able to get this many reps in. You know, I was able to get like 5 sets a night in San Francisco, but here it's just like 2 a.m. I'm still out. Like, wow, things are still happening. People are still in the streets. I love it. Love it. New York is the best city in the world.
Yeah, man. To go back to what you were saying and bringing in some younger blood into a group that maybe won't see culture in a certain way. It's like when you think about stand-up and when the audience really relates to you, I've talked about this with comedians before, it's like if you can relate to a group of people that are like 15 years older than you and 15 years younger than you, that's really the pocket that you want to be in. And sometimes if you are a stand-up who's like 45, 50 years old and you're not talking about the environment where, you know, you're talking about TikTok, talking about online dating, and you're not really relating to the audience, they won't really understand what you're talking about. So bringing in a younger blood like you, I mean, definitely makes sense in terms of, you know, bringing everything together in the culture. I took UCB classes for about 6 years, and right as I was about to try out for the Lloyd team was when March 2020 happened. Ooh. So that kind of was my full transformation from being an improv student into doing stand-up, because I've been doing this podcast for a little bit over 5 years, but there was just a huge gap in where I was like, all right, how can I get stage time? What do I need to do? And it's a beautiful thing that UCB finally came back, because they closed down the location that they had on 36th Street, which is where I was doing it initially.
Okay. Which location do you think is better?
I haven't been to the 14th Street location, but I was doing the Ted Jones comedy show at Asylum NYC when it was on 26th Street, but then they closed down and now they're on 24th Street over there. I don't know if you've been there yet.
Yeah, the Asylum.
Yeah, great theater over there. But New York, yeah, there's 50 different theaters that you can go to all within like a 5-mile radius, which is crazy. And being in New York, you can travel to them and be there within minutes. So it's great.
Yeah.
How does the lifestyle compare from San Francisco to New York? Because I know things in San Francisco are also equally as expensive.
Yeah. And also it's slower. It's still a city, but we're hippies. So we're just like, we're high as hell. We're chilling. You know what I mean? We're not pressed. You know, the weather's not against us. You know, it gets a little bit colder in San Francisco compared to other places in California, but we're chilling. You put a sweater on, you're good. And so New York is boom, boom, boom. People are meaner here. People are.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah, hell
Really?
yeah, I've experienced it. Yeah, but I don't, because my dad is a former pro football player and he's a very militant kind of person. I got cussed out every morning for a lot of my life. Motherfucker, you ain't shit. You're lazy as hell. You know, so and I grew up in sports, so I'm kind of used to people yelling at me, so it doesn't really affect me. But with my mom, there was a moment where she didn't know how to get through the thing in the subway, and people were literally bumping into her. My mom's an old woman. She's a young woman. But but people were like moving her out the way and just being hella rude to her. I'm just like, yo. And my mom's just like, on the verge of crying. I had to go over there and help her. And so it's just, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's actually pretty refreshing because it's so honest. Yeah.
Well, I think people, if you look at the scope of things, like for 2.5 years, I was making these vlogs on YouTube and I was like, why aren't they hitting as hard as I want them to hit? Why aren't people relating as much as I want to? And then this creator who has millions of followers, he once told me, he was like, nobody cares about you, which is an insane thing to say to somebody. But if you just think about it in the scope of nobody cares about you, they first care about what you're. I appreciate that, buddy. I needed that. If you guys are just listening to that, Larry gave me a very heartfelt hand-to-hand gesture. But it's people have to initially care about the video or something that you're making, about something that you're saying, and then they'll start to care about you later. It's not like your first vlog isn't like, hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm just here. I'm making breakfast. It's a whole 10-minute thing. Then you walk outside, but the first 10 seconds, if you're not keeping them entertained, they're going to switch because there's millions of other videos online, and you have to grasp the people's attention. It's not like 25 years ago where you turned on the TV and you're like, all right, there's 7 channels. This is the only TV channel where there's a particular sitcom that's on. So this is what I need to latch onto, especially now. And the amount of options that you have in watching a creator and how many people are around trying to make content. Nobody cares about you until you give them a reason to care about you. I feel like that. And maybe it's a deep way of thinking, but over the years, I mean, it's only helped and shaped how I try and put content forth. You know, like once people realize that, oh, I like Ted Jones, they'll go back 5 years and watch the stuff that I did 5 years ago where I was like, oh, well, people should care about what I'm doing.
You know? Go.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't die before people appreciate it. But yes, theoretically, something like that. Yeah. Well, it's like you appreciate their old work and things that were put forth, you know?
I'm hoping the same thing happens with me. You know, I feel right now, I think just the way we're going, technology, Elon Musk, the robots, the things that are happening. Luckily, live performance, I don't think will ever die, but a lot of jobs and things are gonna go to robots for 100% sure. 100% sure. But, you know, we're also in such an advanced, you know, I've traveled the world. I've been to around 30 countries.
Oh, wow.
And I've lived in a third world country as well. And we are so advanced, we think the world's like this, but no, people are still riding donkeys. And you know what I mean? People are still taking showers in tubs and stuff like that. And nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that's their experience. And so I think but maybe, you know, how things compound and exponentially advance, once we develop it here, it will just disseminate or spread around the world like very fast. And then it'll reach those pockets of like, you know, I remember I was in Samoa. Are you familiar? It's
Samoa. Is Samoa and Western Samoa?
Exactly. Okay. Yes. It's jungle.
And that's the third world country you're talking about where you live?
No, I didn't live there. No.
Okay.
But I spent a good amount of time there. And we were in the jungle, and they were stressed about getting money to put credits on their phone so that they could look at TikTok and Facebook. They didn't have anything else to really entertain themselves. I mean, it's a beautiful country, beautiful culture, beautiful people. There's things they could do, of course, but I'm saying like their fix was like, I need to get credits on this phone so that I could get on TikTok and Facebook again. And I think in the Amazon jungle, that's a big thing that's happening as well. I spent some time in the Amazon, and they're getting addicted to the phones. So eventually we're going to have a homogenization of culture, because people who have their own independent culture are going to be seeing what people are doing around the world on their phones, even if they're in the jungle, and they're going to be like, I want to do that. And we're going to lose, like in Black culture, we say we're losing recipes. We're going to lose like historic traditions because homogenization due to access and technology.
Why have you been to so many different countries?
You're looking at me like, are you a drug dealer? Yeah, I bring meth to small indigenous communities.
Leaves, yeah.
Because I'm an adventurous person, man. When I was 18, when I was a teenager, before the age of 18, I was a criminal. And I say that lightly because of statute of limitations. And so I can't be convicted at this point. And I didn't do anything like violent or sexual or nothing like that. It was all monetary and like capitalistic pursuits. And I changed my life. I said, look at this. High School Musical. I can't go to jail. When I turned 18, I redirected my whole existence, and I had to separate myself from a lot of people I was formerly with, some of the closest people to me, who still may be involved in things I can't be involved with anymore. And I took a heroic dose. I think not Alan Watts, but who's the other British dude, Timothy, not Larry, Timothy. I forgot his name, but he coined the term heroic dose, which means you take over an eighth of mushrooms for your first time. I did that, and I wrote my life out to 100 years. I wrote my whole life plan for 100 years. And when I did that, I wrote down like just absurd and outrageous things that I wanted to accomplish, because I was like, the experience of our existence is expansive. I want to be able to feel it and see it all. And so I went skydiving. I did all types of crazy stuff. And that's why I traveled the world, just for that. And then luckily, a lot of places had stand-up and improv, so I was able to teach and perform as well, wherever I went. But some places it was just pure. In the Amazon jungle, I was in an indigenous canoe with the water sinking in, looking at the guy who was supposed to be my guide, and he's like, "You're good." I'm like, "Man, you ain't see Ice Cube and J-Lo and Anaconda. You ain't seen that." I'm nervous as hell. But yeah, so I think the drive is just because I want to experience life to the fullest.
What third world country did you live in?
Colombia. My mom's Colombian. So I went there. I have a citizenship. So I went there and spent a year.
What year was it? How old were you at that time?
That was last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What were you doing when you were there?
Just vibing, man. Getting to know the culture, getting to know family members that I didn't know, improving my Spanish. I did stand-up once in Spanish. Very difficult. I got laughs, but it was difficult. Did improv. Did better because it's easier to just be a character and be funny.
In Spanish?
In Spanish, yeah. Did poetry, did talk classes, met a bunch of people, shot a bunch of content. Yeah, just vibing. I didn't want to go out there and have a specific objective. I just wanted to live life for once, because I've always been I'm trying to get a lot of things accomplished. I just wanted to go out there and say, for once, I'm not going to really try to get anything accomplished.
How long do you see yourself being in New York for?
I'm going to be here till January. And then in January, I'm going to figure it out. I might go to Amsterdam. I might go to LA. I might, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. If things in New York just really start picking up, I might just stay. I might just go, you know what? I'm going to try to, find a way to stay and just, thug it out. But yeah, everybody listening, I hope all your dreams come true. And always remember this. There's so much to life. So if you think you know the answers, you don't. And I don't either. But, all you could do is just keep on learning. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, is people who are very opinionated but don't have the epistemological research to have those opinions. The smarter you get, the more you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? So.
You spoke briefly about your father playing in the NFL. Did you play high school football and have dreams to play college football, or no?
Yeah, I played high school basketball.
Okay.
And my brother ended up going Division I in basketball, my younger brother. And so I felt like I could have did it, but I got in trouble. That's when I got in trouble. So I had to quit all sports and quit everything. Yeah, it was.
And going to San Francisco State, did you want to leave San Francisco, or you wanted to stay close to home? What was that decision like? Yeah,
I just wanted to stay home. I just wanted to live free and rent free, and then all the extra money I make, travel, go places.
What did you do when you were in college? Did you have a side job, or saving all that money?
I was doing radio. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then that was that iHeartRadio.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one thing that I feel like, everybody has their big goals in life, and one of my biggest goals in life is to redirect the values of hip hop, because we're at a point where it's very negative. And I'm a big hip hop fan, and this is the birthplace of hip hop. But so I wanted to be able to be educated enough where people respected my opinion. And now I look at social media and people are blowing up on social media. They haven't put any of the groundwork to have the right to have their opinion, but people are listening to them. I'm like, this motherfucker didn't go to school. This motherfucker didn't do nothing.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that people have or give people attention based off their opinion?
I think it's always been a thing, but I think specifically now more than ever, we live in a world of anti-intellectualism. I think people don't like, and not just anti-intellectualism, I don't even know what the word is, but when someone's successful, they don't like people who have eat the rich, things like that. When someone works their butt off to become something, people don't like that person anymore. You have to stay humble or people will try to prey on your downfall. People will hate on you. The more success you get, the more hate you get. It's crazy. So I think that's a big thing. People would rather, when you're talking about relatability, I think people would rather have somebody who ain't shit. That's why a lot of people go viral for actually being bad, because it makes other people with their own inadequacies and self-insecurities feel better about themselves. And then I also think that contributes to cancel culture. I think that when somebody falls, you're like, I feel guilty for something that I did. And in order to feel better about my own guilt, I'm going to make sure to hate on this person to make them fall down. It's like a lot of people who are closeted homosexuals, right? They are some of the biggest haters of the LGBTQ movement. And then it comes out later on that they're gay themselves. And you're like, what the hell? How does that make sense? And a lot of it is people's own internal situations that are going on. And I think that's what it is. I could be wrong, though. I'm always willing to be wrong.
Have you had any moments in hip hop where you maybe see yourself being in hip hop full time for the rest of your life? Like relationships with artists, your own hip hop career, or bouncing around between improv, stand up? Do you see yourself in one lane or no?
I don't know anything, bro.
Appreciate that, honestly. I feel everybody can kind of say that.
How old are you?
I'm 32, and I'm turning 33 in about a month.
Okay, so we're about
from
the same
now.
age.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I played tennis in college, and for a good part of high school, I thought that was going to be something that was going to last for the full amount of college, and it lasted about 2 years. And then after I played tennis in college, I started a TV show at UC TV, where I was doing sports stories, UConn stories, world stories. So that was something that I did start to like. I was taking acting classes, improv classes, and in high school I was taking improv classes as well. But I think I've always liked entertainment. I've always liked performing.
You have the entertainment energy.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
You have that.
Yeah. So I think that there's something to be said about doing a lot of things that are all in the same realm. And hopefully one of those things that I'm doing that I enjoy doing does significantly better than something else to where I'm successful in it.
Dude, if you would have told me when I was growing up that I would get paid to freestyle rap, which is my favorite pastime, my favorite hobby. It's a meditative thing. It brings my emotions to equilibrium. Like, you could just go down the list of how beneficial it is for my spirit. I would have looked at you and said, you crazy as hell.
Yeah.
And now I get fucking paid, sorry for cussing, to freestyle rap.
No, that's something that, like, in high school and college, anytime I was with my boys, that's something that I would do.
You really would?
Yeah. Freestyle rap.
Okay, let's bust a freestyle. Hold on.
That's all you. You started off. We'll go back to back. We'll go beat on beat. I know you wanted me to write down some words, but I feel like we should just make it a true freestyle and just go with what you're seeing, bro. We got enough things going on in the studio right now. Oh, you got some cool shoes over there. What shoes are those? You want to start with that?
Those are Pan-Africanist shoes. Okay. Pan-Africanism.
That's a tough one to start with.
People hear my idioms and laugh at the ism. I'm just trying to rap in a prism. That means the colors diffract. I'm here with 10 Jones, hitting the ball with a smack. That's a tennis reference. Like Phantom of the Menace, I'm stepping into the Jedi Master role. I am losing control. I am like a video game console. I will console. with a Latina woman named Consuela. In California, we use the word hella.
You guys do.
I don't know.
No, that was tight. And also, you know what? Your freestyle, I feel like it's like poetic. It's like a Lin-Manuel Miranda thing too, right? Bro, when I saw Hamilton, I didn't see it with him, which I'm so bummed about. But it was great. He did a great job on that. Right now,
what'd you major in? Broadcasting?
Journalism.
Yeah. Close. Yeah. My dad did that as well. Cool, man. You know, I'm so happy I met you, man, because I
bro,
like
you're
your
a great
vibes.
guy, man. You have a great vibe too. And as soon as I saw you, man, you were just laying it on me, man. So I couldn't resist your compliments. It was very nice.
Become best friends.
Yeah. No, but for real, man, you're a bright light, and it's really great to see.
Let's get some shit. Let's get some viral shit and some shit that hasn't been talked about. No good deed goes unpunished. Have you heard that before?
Of course.
That's what I've been thinking about lately. I've been thinking about some of the times in my life where I try to do the most good, I get vilified or I don't get no reciprocity, man. And I'm always trying to have an attitude of gratitude, so I always want to be grateful for things. But what do you think about that, man? Like, it's so deep. Like, sometimes some of the most evil or the biggest problems on earth is someone with good intentions. It's a real philosophical thing. I've been thinking about this a lot, deep, like meditating on this shit. Like, yo, there's literally problems in the world where somebody was like, this could solve a lot of things. And then it just blows everything up. Have you experienced that in your life?
I think when you really say that, no good deed goes unpunished, and you think about it, it's like, that's so fucked up. Like, how is that possible?
How is that possible?
Yeah. But I think you just have to think about when there's good and evil in the world, and they have to be balanced.
Yeah. Interesting. So sometimes you do the good,
It
but
has
the
to be
evil's like, there's not enough evil here right now. So let me just fuck some shit up.
Yin and yang. It has to be balanced.
Yeah.
So I think that's I don't know if that was a simple answer, not deep enough.
No, that was deep. Sometimes simplicity is the deepest.
Yeah,
right?
I think that it has to be balanced.
You know, a lot of men, I feel like in dating, they have problems. And I'm pretty good at this. I would consider myself an expert on dating. And, you know, some of the things men say is like, oh, women use men for lunch and dinner and this and that, and there's no reciprocity, right? But I don't think women should reciprocate. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I believe that there's so many men offering women things. If they were really reciprocal, they wouldn't be able to live life. They'd be like, I have to pay all these people back. All these people are trying to do things for me. It's impossible. I don't think women should be reciprocal unless this is the person they're choosing to be with. One other thing I've been thinking about lately is I love, you know, the American dream and the success story. I've become very patriotic because of traveling and living other places. Not in a toxic way, but in the way where this is our country, and like all the fucking polarization and this and that, we gotta, like, I know this sounds cliche, but we have to come together. Forget all the other stuff. This is America. Like, you know, yeah, I'm indigenous, so and I'm a descendant of slavery. You know, there's some pain in here. You know, the reparations, like, you know. But besides all of that, I'm like, we have to move forward. You know, and I think that there's not. This can be in a macro and a micro level. I think that the best stories are the ones where there's a lot of pain and a lot of failure and a lot of fuck ups. You know what I mean? I love those stories better. I love to hear the grittiness and how someone overcame rather than someone just gliding to the top. I want to hear how you messed up. That's why Richard Pryor, I think he's always considered the greatest, is because he could do that. He was the only comedian who could make you cry from actually sadness and laugh simultaneously. I prefer George Carlin's comedy, but I understand why people always say Richard Pryor is the GOAT. You know? You want to talk about trauma?
Go ahead, yeah.
You start. What's something fucked up that's happened in your life? Let's take it there.
I had a to be honest, I had a great childhood. My parents both love me. I have a great immediate family.
Yeah.
I think the most trauma I've had was just probably from relationships with girls. That's and that trauma is more deep just because of how painful it was at the time, whether it was years ago, a year ago, 15 years ago. I think that's where a lot of trauma for me came.
Was it due to expectations not being met?
Yeah. And also just messiness. And I know saying that is, it seems super light, but I think that's where
it's relative.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's obviously people who have had significant traumas in their life with their family, abuse, violence. And it's just for me. It's also, you know what I mean? But I when I hear other people's trauma, you know, I let them talk.
Yeah. This is likewise, you know. I think, you know, we, as comedians, it's our job to find a way to make people laugh who are going through things, you know. Last night, someone came up to me, it was a Russian dude after the show, and he said, "Hey, I didn't relate to anything you said, but you still made me laugh." And I was like, damn, that's deep. I was like, okay. He's like, I have no relation to any of your subject, but you're goofy and you're giggly and you made me laugh. And I was.
There was a moment at a show 2 weeks ago where this woman was sitting next to two younger men. I was like, are these two guys your sons right here? She said, they're my son's age. Everyone in the crowd, I'm like, but I'm just taking a second, pausing. And she's like, I didn't mean it like that. I was like, do you know these two gentlemen? And they're like, well, they're friends of my son. And then I was like, where's your son? And she said, he doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to know. Talking to them, everyone's laughing, everyone's dying. Excuse me, everyone's dying laughing. And then I was like, of course we want to know. And then she said, my son died. I was like, your son died? I'm so sorry. Take some time, take a minute. I'm like, we'll make some noise for this brave woman right here coming out to a comedy show with her son's friends. Everyone, yeah. What's your name? My name's Marilyn. Yeah. What was your son's name? Alex. So Alex is here in the room with us. And then she was like, you're making us laugh. Alex loved to laugh. He was a comedian too. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm like, we'll make some noise for Alex and Marilyn, blah, 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 blah. I think in a moment like that, it would 100% throw off the comedian on stage. But given the fact that she said to me, you're making us laugh, Alex loved to laugh, and then I went about my set. I would just, like, you know, kept the energy in the room good. And then as soon as I got off stage, I went over, gave her a hug and a kiss on the cheek. And then I think that moment and making people laugh, that's the number one joy in life is making people laugh. And to see her happy in that moment when, of course, when I talked to her after the show, I was like, are you okay? She's like, obviously, no, I'm not okay. But I really had a great time during your set. But I think just having the realization when I was on stage to be like, this could go so many ways. Me being like, wow, you really brought down the room, or just be like, oh, that was really dark. I think just
I'm killing right now.
Keeping things at just a positive level in a situation like that, I think is super important.
And your improv skills probably came into play for sure.
I think so, yeah.
You know, I had a very similar situation. I was doing a show and there was a couple, and I forgot how we got into it. Like I was like talking about cuckolding or something like that, and I was like, oh, I'm probably your son's age. Where's your son? You guys got kids? And I saw underneath, the dad went like this, underneath the table, and I peeped that, like, and nobody in the audience
Larry
saw
just
that.
Went, like, cut it out. With the
Yeah. But they were still laughing. They weren't being weird about it. He just went like this, and then I was like, oh yeah, and I just moved on. After the show, they came up to me, both gave me a big hug, and the husband had already told the wife what happened, and they were like, thank you so much for, like, just moving on. Because, you know, we know comedians sometimes just like to go in and you moved on. And our son. That's another
improv skill, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that people never really think about in terms of improvisation. Like an instance like that where something could go so left if you didn't just move on. You know, it could have been bad.
I've had those moments, and like bombing. I've had some bombs, and not even in the sense of just not getting laughs in the sense of the crowd just fucking turning because I say something like inappropriate and it just goes. And being a class clown too. Ooh. One of the worst moments of like accidentally saying something that I didn't mean to say. I was with an ex-girlfriend and it was totally not intentional, man. Like I did not mean it in any, I wasn't even trying to, it was bad. But I was with her aunt and her aunt's son had just died of cancer. We were all smoking weed and we were like coughing hella bad.
With her aunt?
With the aunt. And then I'm like, damn, I'm coughing so much shit, I got cancer. Oh no! That's been my problem my whole life, man. Like Tupac said, I got a big mouth, and sometimes I just say shit. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be, none of that. I'm just saying shit to get a laugh or a reaction. Yo, the aunt started crying. My girl slapped me and said, "Get out." We were in the car. She's like, "Get out the car." Like, what the fuck's your problem? I was like, yo, I didn't, you know me. It wasn't intentional. She goes, I know, but get out the car. But it was a deep moment. I felt horrible. And that's happened to me a lot in my life where I just say the wrong thing at the wrong time. Were you the class clown too?
Yeah, I think so. I got in trouble a lot. I also school was not really for me. I really was not good in school. No. I had a lot of tutors too, but still just never really help. I just struggled in school consistently, and then getting the tutors my parents thought it would help just never really helped. I also wasn't passionate about school. I didn't really find my passion until I was probably like 26 or 27 years old, where I realized that I wanted to do some sort of entertainment. I worked in real estate for 6 years, and that's what I thought I wanted to do. But I grew passion for it. But this stuff that I'm doing now, it's just I can be working on something for hours and the time just passes. I can be hanging out at a comedy club for 8 hours and it feels like I'm there for 2 hours. But it took me a while, and people find their passion when they're 14 years old. People start doing stand-up comedy when they're 17, 18 years old, and they're like, all right, I want to do this. Then they make it by the time they're 30. But for me, it was late.
That's like we were talking about earlier. I don't know what direction, like you were saying, like people been doing stuff for a long time. Like, yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. I got on social media late. I got in 2016. Everybody got in like 2008, 2009. So they were already 8 years ahead of me by the time I got on. They were at this point, they're 16 years in. I'm 8 years in. So I got in pretty late, didn't know what I was doing, and I don't really like social media, but I know it's a necessity, and so that's something I have to work on. But I'm trying to figure out what is my thing, on social media. Like you have Ted Jones, what are the finance bros? That's dope. Like what is my angle? I don't know yet. I'm gonna figure, but hopefully I'll figure it out soon. Anthony Robbins, nice.
Yeah, Tony Robbins. I went to one of those. Sorry, 1 second. Let me press OK. I went to one of those conferences. I went to like Business Mastery with my dad, and the entire time he was just teaching a business course. But I like this whole message.
Yeah, I love it.
Just like life happens for you, not to you. And I think that's something that really stuck with me. Everything that happens in your life is happening for you, and not because of why is this happening to me? No, what lesson is it trying to teach me? But from that point forward, I just love his message, and I haven't gone to like a life event with him, but I've always been fascinated by that guy. He's a cool dude.
I agree. 48 Laws of Power, nice.
Yeah, I'll look at that a little bit. I got a lot of books over there that I haven't really read, but if I will judge a book by its cover. Like if I see the title, I'm like, all right, I guess I understand what that's going to be about. Larry, dude, this has been a great episode, man. Before we get out of here, I do want to plug your Instagram. I want to plug everything that you're doing. You're bouncing around. You're going to be in New York City till January. This episode will be out this Thursday. So if you have anything coming up, stuff you want to plug, please, down the lens. Tell us what's up.
Honestly, I want to plug you. For me, I'm just navigating. I'm a frog on a log. I'm a lizard in a blizzard. You know what I'm talking about? I'm a koala bear on a leather chair. I'm really.
I love these.
I'm trying to go to the same place you're trying to go. So if you make it at an atomic level, I made it. You know what I'm talking about? We're connected. And so you know, we opposite sides of the same coin. Where your chips, I'm soda, this is a sandwich. And, you know, yeah, you could plug my social media. Hopefully I get better at working and grow my numbers, but wanting is the beginning of all suffering. So the last thing I would like to say is check out Dick Gregory, one of the most legendary comedians of all time. Look at his documentary, worth watching, it'll change your life. Fela Kuti, watch his documentary about his Broadway play, one of my favorite people of all time. I like those two people because they can inspire people to become better themselves. It's not about me. I'm a piece of shit. It's about you. And it's about Ted Jones' world. And that's the world we're in right now.
I would strongly disagree and say that you're a piece of shit, man. You're a great guy. Larry, dude, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And when you're in town for the rest of the time, we got to get you back on Margarita Monday. Of course, you're a hilarious dude, hilarious comedian, great performer. Please smile for the thumbnail right here. Excellent. Thank you so much. Larry, you're the man. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Goodbye. Peace.